It was a crisp Saturday morning when I stepped onto our patio, coffee mug in hand, expecting the usual soothing trickle of our backyard koi pond. Instead, a sickening silence hit me like a punch. The familiar gurgle of the waterfall was gone, replaced by a heavy, unnatural quiet that screamed trouble. My bare feet froze on the flagstones as I stared at the ponder what was left of it. The water was gone, down by 2/3, Leah VYing a muddy pit where VY Brant fish should have been gliding. Flashes of orange, white, and black caught my eye, thrashing in the muck. Our koi Lila's pride and joy were dying. A green garden hose snaked over the fence from our neighbor's yard, its pathetic dribble soaking into Sandra Miller's garish yellow tulips. My coffee mug shattered on the ground, but I barely noticed. Rage and panic clawed at my throat. Lila, my wife, wasn't home. She was halfway across the world in Tokyo, judging an international koi show, a gig so prestigious it was like the Oscars for fish nerds. She'd left me in charge of her babies, her Lee VY Ing art, a collection of Nishikigoi worth more than our car. And now, they were suffocating in mud. I sprinted to the garage, grabbing buckets, dragging out the kids' old inflatable pull anything to hold water. My hands shook as I scooped up the gasping fish. King Midas, a 3-foot ghost koi with shimmering scales, was already gone, his intelligent eyes dull. Snow Queen, a pearl-white beauty, was barely breathing. I got her into a bucket, my heart pounding with every weak gasp. Then I saw her Sandra, our HOA president, standing by her fence, arms crossed, a smug smile on her face as she misted her roses like she hadn't just committed aquatic murder. "Sandra!" My voice was raw, barely mine. "What the hell have you done?" She looked up, feigning surprise, her eyes glinting with malice. "Oh, good morning, Tom. Just cleaning up a neighborhood eyesore. That stagnant pond of yours was a mosquito magnet. And the smell? Disgusting." I was shaking, mud and water dripping from my hands. "These are Lila's prize koi, Sandra. You drained their home into your damn tulips." She scoffed, snipping a rosebud. "They're just fish, Tom. Per HOA rules. I'm protecting property values." "You're welcome." She turned back to her flowers, dismissing me like I was nothing. I wanted to scream, but the fish were still dying. I turned back to my grim rescue, fury burning in my chest. The kitchen was a war zone by noon buckets everywhere, muddy towels strewn about, the air thick with the metallic scent of stressed fish. I'd saved most of the Sir VY Vors, but the big ones, Lila's champions, were gone. King Midas, 2 of her best show fish dead. My hands trembled as I called Lila. It was late in Tokyo. She'd be exhausted but exhilarated from judging. "Lila, it's me," I croaked. "Something awful happened. The pond. Sandra drained it. Some didn't make it." Silence crackled over the line. Then her voice, sharp with alarm. "Drained it? How? Which ones, Tom?" I listed the losses, my voice breaking. "King Midas is gone. Snow Queen's hanging on, barely." Her response was ice cold, terrifying. "I'm on a first flight back. Document everything photos, VY Deos times. Don't touch anything unless it's to save them." Lila arrived the next day, pale and sleepless, her face set with grim resolve. She didn't cry. She dropped her luggage and marched to the backyard, MOVYing like a battlefield medic. Kneeling by the makeshift tanks, she examined each fish with surgical precision, murmuring softly in Japanese to Snow Queen. Then she turned to the row of casualties I'd laid out under the patio umbrella. King Midas, even in death, was majestic, a ghostly shimmer of scales. Lila's voice was a whisper, heavy with judgment. "This wasn't just a koi, Tom. This was a Jin Okiba Shiger from the Daichi Showa line. He won at the All-England Koi Show, worth at least $25,000. My jaw dropped. $25,000 for one fish. I knew her hobby was serious, but this was another level. She moved to Snow Queen. She was flawless, a contender for next year's ZNA show. And that little one, she pointed to a fish with a perfect red circle, a Tancho Sanank. 1 in 10,000, worth more than most cars. The scale of Sandra's destruction hit me like a freight train. This wasn't a pet store goldfish massacre. It was a financial and emotional catastrophe. Lila called the police, armed not with hysterics, but with a typed list of the dead fish their breeds, lineages, show records, and jaw-dropping values. Officers Carter and Lee showed up, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Another HOA spat, Mr. Hayes?" Carter sighed, flipping open his notepad. Lila stepped forward, calm but commanding. "Officers, Sandra Miller deliberately drained our koi pond, killing fish worth over $70,000. These are pedigreed Nishikigoi, not carnival prizes. I'm a certified judge with Zen Nippon Erinkai. This is felony property destruction and animal cruelty." She handed them the list. Their eyebrows shot up as they read, muttering, $70,000 for fish? While we dealt with the cops, Sandra doubled down. A crisp HOA notice arrived, finding us due $300 for a hazardous pond and demanding its removal within 77 days. Attached was a bill for due $154 emergency drainage Sarah VY SAS. Her audacity was unreal. Lila read it, her jaw twitching. "This woman," she said softly, "is digging her own grave." She wasn't wrong. Lila's phone buzzed nonstop as she rallied her global koi network. Dr. Hiroshi Sato, a koi vet legend, flew in to perform necropsies. Mr. Edward Blake, a top UK appraiser, hopped a transatlantic flight to value the losses. Even Mr. Nakamura, our local koi club president, rushed over, horrified. "Mrs. Hayes, is that your Shiro Atsuri?" he gasped, peering at Snow Queen. "What monster did this?" The koi world erupted. Nakamura's post on koi forums sparked outrage, and messages poured in from breeders in Japan, Australia, even South Africa. Sandra had poked a hornet's nest of passionate, well-funded fish lovers. Meanwhile, we tracked down Ku Vyn, the HOA's teenage handyman, who'd done the dirty work. He was a nervous wreck, clipping hedges like he expected a SWAT team. She said it was a mucky puddle full of minnows, he stammered. "I saw the big fish flopping, but she waved me off, said, 'Less for the raccoons to eat.'" Lila's eyes turned to steel. Ku Vyn's testimony would nail Sandra. The showdown came in an emergency HOA meeting Sandra called to enforce her pond removal notice. She strutted in, clipboard in hand, ready to steamroll us with bylaws. She had no clue Lila had in VY Ted her expert posse. Dr. Sato, Mr. Blake, and Nakamura stood ready, their credentials a silent threat. Lila addressed the board, her voice calm but razor sharp. "Before we discuss your notice, let's clarify what Sandra destroyed." Blake stepped up, his leather binder thick with EVY Denke. Emperor Midas, a Jin Okiba Shigur, was worth $25,300. The Tancho Sanank, $10,100. Total for the 7 dead koi, $74,000. The board gasped. Sandra's face went gray. Dr. Sato added, "They drowned in mud, suffering chemical burns from ammonia. It was inhumane." Lila stared at Sandra. "You thought they were just fish." Sandra stammered the bylaws. "Mosquitoes," but Treasurer Dan cut in, voice shaking. "Our insurance doesn't cover $100,000 in koi killed by an overzealous president." Sandra collapsed into a chair, looking like she might faint. The board suspended her on the spot, and our lawyer, Ms. Carter, started drafting lawsuits. The insurance adjuster who VY cited later was floored, muttering, "They're fish," as Lila showed in Blake's reports. Sandra's tearful email to the neighborhood, blaming a misunderstanding, only fueled the fire. Pondgate, as it was dubbed, split the community. Some backed Sandra's good intentions, others demanded her head. Months later, after legal battles, the HOA's insurer paid out most of the damages, and Sandra coughed up a chunk herself to avoid bankruptcy. She resigned, sold her house at a loss, and fled to a condono ponds in sight. With the settlement, Lila rebuilt the pond into a masterpiece. NASA-grade filtration, LED lights, the works. Dr. Sato helped source new Koryujin, a bold Kahaku, Kibo, a tiny Sonk, Fushicho, a resilient Showa. Snow Queen, miraculously, recovered. I got hooked, learning their names, spotting Fukurin patterns, feeling fiercely protective. Standing by the reborn pond one moonlit night, I watched Lila release a new koi, its scales flashing like a promise. Sandra thought they were just fish, I said, grinning. Turns out, your hobby could fund a small country. Lila smiled, tossing food to her Levying jewels. Almost worth seeing her face when Blake read those numbers. Almost. So what do you think? Was Sandra just clueless, or was this malice dressed up as HOA duty? Should she have faced jail time for animal cruelty? Or was financial ruin enough? Could Lila and Tom have done more to protect their pond? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more Wild Neighbor sagas.